I've been asked several times, and I've seen people ask the general question of what books do I recommend if you're trying to get into real estate or whatever you're trying to do. So I caveat my recommendations with the following. So I've never wanted to work as a real estate investor. I'm not interested in going in and flipping a house and swinging hammers and managing tenants and all of the hands-on nitty-gritty work that can come with real estate investing. My real estate investing, if you know anything about my story, is more broad picture, if you will. I'm a big fan of turnkey rental properties. I basically want to be as hands-off as possible. So if you are a Robert Kiyosaki fan, you can think of this in terms of, I don't want to work in my investing business. I want to work on my investing business. And this is the same for me, whether it's my real estate investing, my running my company as a business owner, basically anything in life. I'm not trying to work in it. I'm trying to work on it. So my book recommendations are all very much in support of that. So it's not the technical books. It's not like, how do I flip a property, or I can give you a couple of recommendations that I've heard. I've actually not read these, but if you as an investor are going to need negotiation skills, I've heard 2 books. I wrote them down over here. Never Split the Difference is a really good one. And the book on negotiation, I don't even know the name of this. Book on negotiation for real estate. Let's see. I will keep talking as for some reason I wrote that. Okay, it's called The Book on Negotiating Real Estate, Expert Strategies for Getting the Best best deals when buying and selling investment properties. So so for all the books that I'm talking about today, or here or now, I'll put a link in the description so you can just click right on them. But for instance, I have no interest in negotiating deals, so I have no interest in learning that skill. But for instance, I've heard those are 2 really good ones. Another one that I've heard is really good that I personally have not read because it doesn't quite fit what I'm looking for is The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. So my personal book recommendations are all in support of being more hands-off, working on your business and not in your business. So quite often, the books I'm going to talk about, most of them actually aren't even real estate books. So, because most of the real estate books, real estate investing books, are more specific strategy type of things, where I'm trying to look at it more from like an entrepreneurship kind of standpoint. Like, if I'm going to invest, I run it like a business, and I want to outsource a lot of the work. So my recommendations all day long, for sure. If you're watching this video, it means you're probably interested in real estate, which means you've probably already read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I am very similar to probably millions of people at this point, where that book seems to have kind of prompted everyone to want to pursue being an investor, and it changes the mindset. I know very few real estate investors who didn't start with that book. So if for some reason you have not already read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, the link is below, and that should easily be the first one, because it gives you perspective and helps you understand how money actually works. Like, what are we actually striving for? And even if you end up doing a different strategy than he prefers, you at least still have the understanding of what's going on, and that's huge. On that note, I have read several of the books in the Rich Dad series. I don't think you can go wrong. Personally, I'm a big fan of Robert Kiyosaki. Not everybody is. Your investing preferences may differ than his. My preferences are all exactly the same as him. So I'm one of those, like, if I find someone I would trade shoes with, keep reading more of their stuff. So I've read a lot of the Rich Dad books, which there's plenty of them. OPM, Other People's Money. There's a advanced and a beginner's book for rental properties or real estate. I don't know. But if you just type in Rich Dad series, all sorts of good stuff is going to come. After Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a huge book that I read cover to cover at least twice, maybe more, is a business book called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And that book really puts into perspective outsourcing for one, working to your strengths for another, but it talks about like the different, not mentality, but like skill sets, but kind of mentality, components to any successful business. It's a small read, it's an easy read. I think the information in it is absolutely profound. And I've not only applied it to my business and my real estate investing, but even just my life. So I think that one's a really good one for sure. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the E-Myth, those two alone changed everything for me. And then one that I really liked, which isn't business or real estate, is The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. It's a big, thick book, and it's more about life, but it's I think it's at 101 success principles that all successful people incorporate to some degree. And so to help with mentality, to help with, you know, whatever you have working, I think that is a phenomenal one for motivation, for support, for internal growth. Yeah, I think so. Those three are my core: Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the E-Myth, and Success Principles. If I could only read 3 books, it would be those, because they kind of hit real estate on one side, business on the other, life on the other, which I think those 3 things are huge components. So some other books that I think are really good, if you're trying to be a real estate investor, I have a good buddy who is, I think he's one of the Rich Dad advisors or something, but Keith Weinhold, very smart investor. He wrote 7 Money Myths. It's a very small book, but it's right to the point. It hits right in the punch. Keeping in mind, I'm more for passive income. All my recommendations are probably not what you want to read if you're trying to flip or wholesale. And then let's see, what else do I have down here? I think I'm going to stop there. I know that's probably not a very long list, but I think those, the ones that I suggested are such powerful ones, and plus all the Rich Dad series, that's actually a lot of them. So I'll finish off with, I of course have to promote my own book that just came out about a month ago. It's called Not Your How-To Guide to Real Estate Investing, Life Lessons on Hacking Your Mind Before You Hack Your Wallet. So my idea with this is I want it to be very different than most real estate investing books. Most real estate investing books focus right on the how-to guide of how to do a particular strategy, how to, well, do a particular strategy, I guess. I always say that there is no how-to guide in the world that is going to help you if you start into it with the wrong mindset. So think of my book like a prerequisite. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is kind of a prerequisite too. It's a little bit more mindset than it is technical. And mine is basically all mindset and no technical, hence not your how-to guide. But I think there's such a big failure rate with real estate investors. And I think there's some very simple, specific reasons why. And I hit those in this. And I think it's because people they're like, I'm going to be a flipper. That sounds great. And they have no idea what they're getting into. They don't even know if it's really something that is in them. Like, they don't even know if they're going to enjoy it. They just do what they're told because people are like, oh, you should definitely flip houses, or you definitely have to wholesale. And so my book is in support of really exploring that a little bit more. And spoiler alert, there actually is a how-to guide at the end of it. It includes the 5 or 6 exact steps that I took. I didn't even know I was taking them at the time, but in hindsight, of how I got out of my corporate job. So I have ended up applying these steps to getting me my own business, getting out of corporate, getting into my real estate investing strategy, and they're proven. Like, I've actually did them, and they're what got me to where I want to go. So that's in there. There's a really cool chapter on what I perceive to be the 3 true currencies. That's one, I think, my favorite chapter. It's game changing in my mind. So I'll throw my own book into the mix, but there will be links to all these books. Like I said, keep it in mind, these are not technical books. They are basically, now that I say that, they're pretty much all mindset books. But I'm a big mindset nut. I think it's very important. And like I said, I think if you aren't starting with the right mindset, you're going to have a very tough time unless you just happen to be one of the few that just like naturally falls into success. But I don't think that's most of us, and because we're human. And yeah, taking the time to kind of explore, and you'll end up enjoying your investing career more later. So hopefully those few book recommendations help you at least a little bit if you haven't already heard of them. But yeah, if you think of any other good books that you've read on the topic, feel free to comment below and share them with everybody. Always up for good recommendations.